Farming humans, women, taking their babies and cutting their heads off and turning them into cheeseburgers is morally neutral.
In a vacuum, yeah, it's morally neutral.
Are you actually joking?
Sorry?
This is bad.
Can I admit something right now?
I don't know if I'm gonna have very much faith in humanity for about a week. I'll be back at it. So, Kryptickid, we gathered here because you told us on Vegan Gaze's video that all the meat eaters that she's talking to have terrible arguments and you have better ones for being non-vegan, right?
I think I don't know if I call them better, but I don't know. I don't think I really agree with the way most people tend to reason about morality, if that makes sense. I think I have a different take on how morality works compared to the average person, whether they're vegan or non-vegan. And I just get
Mhm.
frustrated listening to a lot of these debates because I haven't heard anyone, at least not directly, articulate the kind of perspective that I had. So I just figured I'd hop in and see what I can contribute to the discussion.
Okay, so you have a new moral framework never seen before.
Um, I don't know if it's new, but I think first I should just say my understanding of veganism. I think there's different types of veganism, but in the strictest sense, veganism is just like it's basically applied sentientism that that morality basically comes from or has something to do with sentience having like a subjective experience, like feeling pain or pleasure, joy, um, wanting to live, just things along those lines. And
Sure.
um, yeah, do you think that's a fair assessment of veganism?
Depends on whom you ask. It's more explaining sentientism, but I think like at least Joe and I are kind of on the sentientist side, so it explains probably some detail missing there, but sure, generally speaking.
I, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that like there's this idea that like
Mhm.
sentient beings have this inherent like right or have these inherent rights to not, for example, to not be killed, uh, things along those lines.
Well, not really, right? So, sentient beings is that's the cutoff line of when a thing, a philosophical thing, becomes morally relevant, right? Right? There are absolutely justified contexts to kill sentient beings.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll
I
explain it
guess.
the way, yeah, I explained it the way I explained it yesterday. So this is my bottle, right? Right now, this bottle is not sentient. And if I want to throw it at a wall, I'm not going to consider it, well, I should throw it at a wall or not, right? But if it becomes sentient all of a sudden, then oh shit, should I throw it at the wall? Is that a moral thing to do? All of a sudden, it becomes like morally relevant, right?
Right. Yeah, I think there's like two aspects to the way I tend to look at morality. And first, I should say, like, this isn't, I don't think I have it all figured out. I don't think I have like this new grand theory that's going to change everything, but this is just kind of what I've been thinking so far. But I think what I've noticed a lot of people, vegans and non vegans, tend to view morality. I've noticed people tend to think of like certain actions or actions in general having like moral content and um, especially like certain taboo things like cannibalism or infanticide and like some actions are just like inherently wrong. But I think I think the way I tend to look at morality is that it's not really about certain actions being right or wrong, but more about like what kind of being is doing the action, if that makes sense. So,
So only just you know what? Finish. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'll let you finish.
no, it's okay. You can say what you want to say real quick.
No, sorry. I was gonna ask if you're only considering the side of the quote unquote perpetrator, the action giver.
Yeah, I think it's more about the perpetrator than like necessarily the, I don't want to say victim, but like if there's someone doing something to someone or something, like it's more about the person or thing doing the action rather than who or what they're doing it to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So like, for example, praying mantises, like the females, for whatever reason, I don't know exactly why they do this, but they tend to cannibalize their mates. And I think the action in itself is not morally wrong in this case of like, I guess, cannibalizing your sex partner, as shocking as that might sound. It's just, for whatever reason, that's how praying mantises evolved, and that's how they live. Whereas humans evolved some different way, and that type of action of cannibalizing your sex partner just isn't intuitive, to say the least, for a human. But it's not because the action is wrong, but it's just because, for one reason or another, humans evolved this way. Or I'm not a creationist, but I guess a creationist could say like God made humans to not do that for whatever reason. But like in my view, the action in itself isn't wrong. Just as an example of my like moral framework.
Can I just get clarity? If it were a product of evolution, would you think it right for a human?
Yeah, like hypothetically, if there was like some species of human that was like exactly the same as us, except like maybe they could only get pregnant like if the wife cannibalized their husband during coitus, then like I don't think there'd be anything morally wrong with that per se.
Right. I wouldn't. When you say, I think I've argued with people like this who then say if it's a product of like our evolution, therefore it's justified. I'm just struggling to see how this is different from, like, I've had 2 conversations of this nature today. So what's the different component?
I guess to clarify, what do you mean by like component, like different component?
Well, you introduced yourself to us. It's like, oh, I'm sick of these rubbish anti-vegan debates, saying nonsense arguments. But like to me, that's absurd, and yeah, that's what loads of anti-vegans say to me. I've heard people say it to Joan VPM. So what's the difference in your argumentation? It's just what I'm trying to work out right now.
I think it might just be the fact that a lot of anti-vegans, at least the one I've heard come on here, don't really like delve into it. Like they'll say something like lions though, or whatever. And
I get that functionally.
I don't think they really.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
Because I'm familiar with the concept of like appeal to nature fallacy. So I guess I just don't really see appealing to nature in itself as a fallacy. I believe that there's valid appeals and invalid appeals to nature. So like with the praying mantis example, if I said praying mantises do this, therefore it's okay for humans to do, that would be invalid. Because when we talk about nature, I think there's like different, I think the word nature can refer to different aspects. There's like the natural world as a whole, and then there's like, because the natural world isn't homogeneous, it has like humans, it has wolves and bears and cats, dogs, stars, living and non-living things that each have their own nature, so to speak. So I think an invalid appeal to nature would be saying this kind of being does this, therefore it's okay for all beings to do this. I think that would be like an invalid appeal, whereas as a human,
I would disagree
That's-
because it's just saying, look, this happens
When
out in
you-
nature, therefore I'm using it as a justification. And you hypothetically,
Yeah, when you say
yeah, sorry, go, Joe.
yeah, when you say valid or invalid, you're invoking a logical term there. So you're saying there's like an invalid syllogism that would be entailed from using the praying mantis example. What would be a valid syllogism for appeal to nature?
I'm not sure how I would put it in a syllogism. I've heard of a syllogism before, but I'm not exactly sure like how I would articulate that.
Yeah, just when you use the word valid, that's invoking a logical term, which would imply that like the argument is invalid because the conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. So what would be a valid argument that would appeal to nature? That's what I'm curious about.
I think it would be something along the lines of humans didn't evolve to cannibalize their sex partners, so it doesn't follow that we should be allowed to do that, or that it would be okay to
Humans
do
evolved to rape women
that.
because
I
men are
don't
more
think I
powerful
really
than
agree with that.
men are more powerful. What do you mean you don't agree with that? It's throughout history.
Well, people have done it throughout history, but that doesn't mean, I don't think that makes it natural.
It is natural.
So how do you separate? How do you separate something that we evolved to do from something that we didn't evolve to do but just did? How do you like discern between those two things?
Maybe hopefully this will answer your question. I think with humans, it's really difficult to figure. It can be really difficult to figure out what would be natural or unnatural for humans. So I think the goal would be to try to figure out, like, compare humans to non-human animals. Not that what they do is okay, therefore it's okay for us to do, but to try to figure out what human nature is in comparison with other non-human
the appeal
beings.
to nature, the appeal to nature fallacy is just stating it's natural, therefore it's good. It has nothing to do with like comparisons between species, right? That's just how most meat eaters use it. They say lions can eat other animals, therefore I can also eat other animals, where like the situations are not even fucking analogous. But the point is, what you're doing is an appeal to nature fallacy, a classic one. You're saying it's natural for human beings to do something, therefore it's good and we should continue doing it, right?
I suppose so. I just don't really agree with the idea that appealing to nature is a fallacy. I suppose I don't see how you can separate morality from.
Okay, I just want to steel man your argument. I think I have it logically valid. For all actions and practices, if humans did an action or practice in nature, then it is ethically permissible to do an action or practice. Humans naturally would do action or practice X, therefore it is ethically permissible to do action or practice X. That's valid. Do you sign off on that?
Running that by me one more time.
For all actions
Joe, maybe
and practice.
put it in the chat. Put it in the chat as well.
Is there a chat in here?
I think you should add for things that naturally occur to the human body as well.
I'm booming.
Oh, sorry. I think we should like add things that naturally occur to the human body as well. Like I want to know the perspective of cancer being good because naturally,
there it is.
You know, cancer happens in a body.
I think it's natural for humans to treat cancer or other illnesses. I don't think.
No. The natural thing is the cancer happening, killing an individual.
Right.
So is cancer good?
I wouldn't say it's good or bad. I would just say that it's part of human nature to treat illnesses or combat like injuries and stuff like that. So like, I wouldn't say.
This feels a bit slippery.
Okay, I have it in the chat. This is a valid argument, or maybe Felic is in the chat too, or in Tone. You can check as well if this is valid. For all actions and practices, if humans did an action or practice in nature, then it is ethically permissible to do that action or practice. Humans naturally did action or practice X in history, therefore it is ethically permissible to do action or practice X.
That last part about humans did X action history, I don't really think that would follow.
Do you want me to
Because
change it to nature?
like with
in nature?
yeah, sure. Because
Then it is okay. So this is okay. I think this is valid then. For all actions and practices, if humans did an action or practice in nature, then it is ethically permissible to do that action or practice. Humans naturally did action or practice X in nature, therefore it is ethically permissible to do action or practice X.
yeah, I think that's fair. Though, or at least it's closer to what I believe. Maybe this will help. So, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
was
Go ahead,
just trying to
Jerome.
make it valid because you said it was invalid to appeal to praying mantis. So, yeah, this doesn't.
Right.
You wouldn't feel that if praying mantis did action or practice X in nature, then humans can do. So, yeah, I would just ask. I would just replace X with rape children. And is that?
Yeah, I don't think raping.
It is natural.
Yeah, I think. Well, with human
Happens in
nature, no,
nature,
I
right?
don't. Well, not
Happens
in
in human
nature in
nature.
general. Well, I don't agree.
Yeah.
It's human nature to rape children.
Wait, that's an equivocation fallacy now because you're saying now, well, human nature, but the syllogism says what humans did in nature, it's therefore permissible, right? We can change the syllogism to like more represent because Joe did say humans naturally did action or practice, but you wanted to change it like to something else, right? To
You would need to
what
define
humans
what
did in nature.
human nature is then, and then that's like
Yeah.
some weird thing that we don't know the definition of. And if you could divine, like, have a definition, then you're just gonna have like a set of actions and that you find personally unethical or not. But that's not natural. Like humans in nature, you could probably find tribes people now in Africa that are like uncontacted or like on Sentinel Islands or whatever. They're probably doing horrible shit to women and children.
To children.
Maybe. I just think. Pardon me a second. Like, maybe I just sorry. I think I just understand. Maybe my understanding of nature just isn't the same as the average person either. I apologize for any confusion, by the way.
So, Cryptic,
No, I guess
I think I asked you a question before. I would love to hear an answer to it, though. So, how do you discern something that is a human nature and something that isn't human nature, but humans just used to do in nature? How do you discern between those two things, right? Because we are making the claim that it's like human nature to rape, right? We say, well, it used to happen in the past in a ubiquitous way. That's how we evolved. Like most of us in our lineage probably have quite a few rapes. So how do you discern between that rape that you're saying is not human nature and between killing animals for unnecessary food as being part of a human nature? So how do you discern between those two things?
I think when I think of nature, it's usually like some kind of function. So like I would say humans evolved to take care of children. I'm simplifying things, but like taking care of children is more natural than like raping them or sacrificing them to some pagan
According to
god or
whom?
something like that.
According to whom? Where do you get this information? Are you just like thinking about it and that's how you reach this conclusion? Or is there a source of information that it's more natural for human beings? It's more of our human nature to take care of children than it is to rape children. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's like take care of children and rape children.
Yeah, and saying more natural is to then not actually say that that wouldn't be natural. We're not talking about what's more natural. If it happens in nature, that's the point.
It's also like natural that like women get their periods between ages 10 to 13 or whatever, and throughout history, men would sexually assault and those little girls to create offspring. That was very natural. Would you sign
Well,
off
I,
on
I don't know
that
if I
being
call.
ethically permissible? Because that would be part of your the valid syllogism that we agreed upon, that humans naturally did action or practice a 13-year-old girl in nature, therefore it is ethically permissible to do that action.
Well, I think with like the 13-year-old girl, like their bodies aren't really developed to carry a child. Like it's not just about like are they ovulating, but like are
They're
because
What the
developed.
fuck do you
I might be
mean?
mistaken.
12, 13-year-olds having children all the goddamn time, especially early in history. Today they're a bit more protected, but they still have like babies all the time. So again,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
just
my
asking, like,
understanding.
what is the source of your information? Is what I'm asking. What are you basing all of these ideas on? Where you can say, well, the of children is unnatural or less natural, and the slaughter of the non-human animals is natural. So, what's the source of the information on which you base your beliefs?
I don't really have any like scientific sources that I listed. It's just kind of what I've been thinking about, like from what
Okay.
I do know about nature.
Okay, so
Or
you
I
are
should,
the source, what you know about nature, right? Because when you make a claim, well, it's less natural for us or our lineage to rape kids, right? You can think about you're thinking about it as like the modern human being who's like seems to be averted to raping kids, right? Which I admire you for. But now you've made the historical claim, though historical, biological, like evolutionary science claim, and you're making all of those claims just by thinking about it.
um, that's fair. There might be gaps of knowledge. I mean, I know for a fact I have gaps of knowledge.
Mhm.
Can I just ask why then you're saying, oh, well, that isn't like it sounds when you say it isn't the case, it sounds like you confidently know based on something rather than just kind of a discrepancy that you're considering. Or are you just actually communicating, I would not like that to be, or that doesn't feel natural, or something like that, or that goes against my feelings?
Yeah.
I don't know if this answers your question, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, generally my behavioral heuristic when I like hear new knowledge is I usually just say I don't know, and then go from there. I
Yeah,
usually just don't make claims like it's natural, it's not natural to do X or Y if I don't know it, and it just sounds like you didn't know it. I mean, you
I
could take
felt.
it, you can say the syllogism is valid, but you don't agree with it. We can, and then go. What's your second point?
Um,
Because yeah, I think we could just
before I
like
move,
find a. I just used one example. We could probably find a ton of fucking shit that humans do in nature that you would find ethically not permissible. I just
Yeah,
I
that
until
think.
a
came to
hundred
mind.
years ago, we actually like sent kids into factories, right? Generally speaking, parents didn't really care for their kids, didn't look to protect them the way we do today, right? Today, you would probably be shocked if a child, for instance, who's like 11, 12, or 13-year-old, is working in a slaughterhouse, for instance, right? That would be like shocking to you. Whereas 120 years ago, they were sent into mines, they were sent into working with like very dangerous machines, like sewing things, um, creating all kinds of stuff, right? And they didn't go to school, they worked 12-hour shifts. So all we're saying here is that you kind of talking about like you're making a timeline claim, but you're only considering your own intuitions about it, your own modern intuitions about it, right? So we kind of have to dismiss your claims on this specific point. So maybe you can have make another point.
Yeah, you can just go further back in history, and like children were probably sent out to go hunting and gathering. Like 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds were probably like forced by their parents to go like gather fruits and vegetables and carrion meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, like things
Like
that
if you send a child
naturally.
out to, yeah, if you send a child out to do that now, you would call it child abuse, but it's natural. And then, yeah,
And that's not to even talk about, what I said earlier, the natural occurrences that happen within our body, like cancer. Like like it might be a natural affinity to want to treat yourself somehow. We see treatments out in nature with certain animals. However, cancer is also natural, and dying of cancer is a very natural thing. So you'd have to take that. I don't see how you couldn't take that then to be acceptable if you follow this logic, like morally.
and then another one I could just come up with now is like naturally throughout history and naturally like parents fed their children unfiltered stream water. I have a 3 and 4-year-old kid. Do you think it would be ethically permissible for me to go over to the stream a few blocks over and like gather stream water, and that's the only water I give them because it's natural? Or do you think it'd be child abuse because I have like clean water available?
Modern, unnatural, chlorinated clean
Unnatural,
water.
clean, engineered, filtered drinking water with
I
you know,
don't think it's. I guess a lot of people, not you guys specifically, but a lot of people think that things like filtering water technology is unnatural. But I don't think. Maybe I should have
Sorry,
thought
can you
more
please
about what I.
define what nature? Can you please define natural
Yeah,
in this case?
yeah.
Like human
I
nature
think.
or natural? Can you
Yeah,
define it?
yeah. I think that's a problem. I should have started with that first. I apologize.
All right.
Like the wilderness on its own isn't like that's not nature per se. Like if a deer is born out in the wilderness and let's say it has some mutation that it's born with like a fifth leg or only 3 legs, like that doesn't suddenly mean it's natural for deer to have 3 legs just because it was born out in the wilderness with 3 legs. Does that make sense?
Sorry,
Yeah.
can you give us a definition though?
Yeah, definition, please.
Like examples are nice, but examples don't cover even just a little bit of what you mean, right?
Yeah, and just to be clear, that wouldn't be the claim. It would be, oh, out in nature, it can be the case that a deer can have a fifth leg. That would then be the claim. It's not like, So yeah, can you just give some sort of definition so we know that we're on the same page with what you take it to mean? Like, do you have a definition somewhere that you can like put in the chat that's on some website, like dictionary website, or are you using some sort of proprietary definition?
I guess proprietary definition.
Then give it to us, please.
Yeah, can you write it down? Yeah.
Yeah, I love proprietary definitions. I'm not like a linguistic prescriptivist, so you can whatever you got, we can use that.
Sure. Pardon me just a moment.
That's okay.
Okay.
And it will be a bit annoying for me to open the chat, I think, while I've got this on the screen. So unfortunately, I might not be able to like see it right in front of me. So
I'll read it out.
Yeah, thank you.
My accent and terrible
bedtime
diction.
Story.
By the way, VG, if you can I think you can like stretch the Discord app and then just like put the chat outside of it.
Yeah, I know I can, but I've got it set up on the monitor a very specific way, and if I change it, it will poop. I need to sort it out in the OBS. I'll do that.
I thought you were gonna say I can, but I won't.
I can, but I shall not. Get wrecked. Yeah. Oh,
something.
There's a question for you, PM from Felix, while we're waiting.
Yeah. How was your day out of 10? It was a little bit wasteful again, unfortunately, because I was trying to solve all of my mic issues, and embarrassingly came up and nobody could hear me. So that's fun. So the entire day just gone, just on that. What could have made it better? I don't know. Not dealing with the mic shit would have made it so much better.
I have something. I might change it, but I think the closest way I can describe what like nature is, not just merely the wilderness, but just like being natural. It's like some intrinsic function or way of being that defines some class of beings. And I can elaborate on that.
Sorry, intrinsic function that defines a being or a species? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
like
can
a
you repeat?
species. It does.
A species.
Oh, I think I get it. You're kind of saying
yeah.
like cities are natural because humans are part of nature and we created cities, that sort of thing.
To an extent, yeah. Yeah, something. It's yeah, basically, yeah. But not everything that humans do is natural.
How is that?
What would
It doesn't
be an
follow.
unnatural thing that humans do? What would be an unnatural thing? Give us an example this time.
Like I think cooperation is fundamental, is a lot more fundamental to human nature than violence. So I would define human nature as that we are. I'm sorry.
And how did you reach that conclusion? Again, just by thinking about it?
Yes, I mean I do read, like I read different sources and stuff. I just don't have any specific examples that I
You
brought
So what
with
do you
me.
read?
like-
When you read, what do you read? What kind of level of evidence? If you could present it to us, what would it be? Do you like read scientific papers? Do you read blogs? Do you read like, I don't know, historical books? What do you read?
There's one author I like. His name's Anthony Mansueto. He's a religious studies and philosophy professor, but he talks some about human nature.
Okay. And what does he base
I
his
just
readings or writings on? How does he come to the conclusion that violence is not natural to human beings, but cooperation is?
he doesn't quite define it this way, but the way I've kind of understood things is
So he's not your source. What is the source of the claim that violence is not human nature, but cooperation is?
I think they're both part of human nature, but I think cooperation is more fundamental to human nature. So like human nature isn't homogeneous. There's certain things that I believe that are more core to like
And what do you base that on?
more.
Wait, we're not really getting an answer to this. So you are saying human violence is part of human nature. You just said that it was. So
to an extent, yes.
Okay, so
but
to an extent, human violence is good?
I think it comes in conflict with our cooperative aspect. So because I believe that cooperation is more fundamental than violence, I think acting cooperatively is more consistent than, it's more consistent with being human than acting violently towards one another.
But it doesn't, your definition hasn't anything to do with hierarchies or what is more so. You're not being asked which one's more natural in your proprietary definition. You've just made the statement that if something is natural, it's good. So can I just go through this? So like, is me punching VPM a good thing because violence is somewhat natural?
No, not in a vacuum.
I'm not.
It's neither good nor evil.
But
I'm sorry.
it naturally would happen, right? Like punching each other to assert dominance or something like that could happen in nature. Under your definition. Because it's an intrinsic function that defines a species, right? Humans fighting like to communicate, a way of communicating in nature is violence towards each other to assert I'm in charge.
My understanding of human nature is that we evolved to be more like there's selection pressures against acting violently in that way.
Okay, so acting violently against animals who aren't human. Can we just get to the core of this? Because we're asking questions and
Yes.
you're not really clearly, we're not getting to the core. So I just want to know how this relates to you not being vegan.
Right.
Can you just fill in the blank for me? Can you say, Kryptickid, I am not vegan because X.
I'm not vegan because I think it's part of human nature to cultivate animals and plants and minerals.
Can it be part of nature? Sorry, carry on.
That's about it, honestly.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I thought you completely. That's my bad.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, let's just run a hypothetical. If it were part of human nature to farm humans, would that be ethically permissible under your view?
If and only if, sure.
So, if it were part of human nature to farm humans and cut their heads off to make cheeseburgers, that's ethically permissible.
It could be like for example,
bite the bullet, baby. Bite the bullet.
If there were if there was some different species of human that had evolved specifically to hunt humans, like let's say a vampire or something, I don't think the vampire is violating any fundamental right on the human part by feeding upon us. That's not to say that we have to sit there and take it, but it's not because of it's not because the vampire is doing something like morally wrong to us.
Wait, so just to bring it to like the 21st century, so you don't actually believe in human rights then? Like the Declaration of Human Rights, you don't believe that that is justified? Or like a good thing to have?
I don't reject the concept of rights entirely, but I don't think it works. Like I don't think it has any basis in how the world actually functions.
Okay, so because it's baseless, it's therefore bad? Like we shouldn't have it? Like fuck Declaration of Human Rights?
We probably need something else in its place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly
Okay.
what that would be. But like, if like the vampire, well, I've already kind of said it. I was going to say I don't think humans have like a fundamental right to not be killed. I don't think that's why murder is wrong. I just think it's unnatural for humans to kill each other. And I think it goes against our cooperative aspect of our nature to kill each other, but it's not because killing a human in itself is morally wrong. Excuse me.
But based on your definition of the intrinsic function that defines a being or species, like you said that violence could be part of that. So murder is violence. I do not know. I honestly have no idea how you've got to where you've got. And you're standing here and there's been a few bullet bites and I don't know if you have your teeth left. Like, would you... There's like two possible worlds, right? You could just go vegan and you don't have to bite these bullets on like murdering humans not being wrong, or I can't remember the first bullet bite actually, right at the start. You could just like you not have to say those things and just go vegan. Like you can eat your vegan meat, or you can just carry on with this. I just think that the former is so much better.
Yeah, just specifically, especially since you just like all of those things that you were telling us seems to be just like based on nothing. It's not, it's like empirical claims, or like pseudo empirical claims, because all of this falls under the appeal to nature fallacy. You just reject the fallacy. But like, even if it didn't fall under appeal to nature fallacy, your claims are baseless, and that's kind of should be apparent to you, I think, because when we ask you questions, you kind of struggle. You kind of say both sides out of both sides of your mouth. You say, well, yeah, violence is natural, but it's not as natural as cooperation.
Yeah.
And then, well, murder is unnatural, whereas violence is, but just like a little bit natural. It's kind of weird. You're creating this gradient, but you're creating it out of your own mind. You're not basing it on anything, you know?
And the proprietary definition is fine as long as it's coherent. But yeah, as you're explaining it, it's leading to contradictions where it is and is not natural. Oh, but then it also is natural, but not as natural as something else, as if that's supposed to tell us, like, oh, therefore it's bad. But then now we understand you don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't think murdering a human is necessarily bad. You just think it isn't as natural as an alternative.
Yeah, that's fair. Like if a vampire or a lion or whatever like eats a person, I don't think they're violating a fundamental right on the human's part.
So Dracula, actually, not an antagonist, not a villain. Dracula he's a chill guy. He's just
Trying to survive.
Just trying to survive.
Just vibing.
He's just
Yeah,
vibing.
just vibing.
He's yeah, you've certainly got you haven't got a different view from other anti-vegans. Literally, I've had these conversations. I've literally had the Dracula did nothing wrong conversation, maybe even 3 times at this point. So that you should find those people and have a good conversation with them. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't make sense when you come outside of it and explain it. Like,
yeah.
And that's not to just like rag on proprietary definitions. It just needs to be coherent. Like,
No, you're right. I need to do more research. I guess I got too caught up in my own thoughts, and I wasn't really.
It happens.
Trying to like, yeah. I apologize. I need to like check more.
Yeah, no, I appreciate going through it. And obviously when you go through it with someone and they're directly speaking to you, it's much easier to understand your own argument and how it's engaging with someone else. However, like, I just want to know, like, do you have any experience with non-human animals who are typically farmed? We'll keep it to farming for now.
Oh yeah. I don't want to go into like too many personal details, but like I volunteer to farm.
Okay. So you acknowledge that inside there is an individual having an experience.
Right.
Yeah. Does that not like compel you to respect that experience or consider that experience functionally in the way you behave?
I just don't think that. I'm sorry if this sounds cold. It's just I just don't believe that like sentience, including human sentience, has any moral significance in itself. Like with the vampire example, or the humans like feeding on an animal. Like I just don't believe that sentience has any moral significance on its own.
Can I test that?
Yeah, so, do you think it's morally permissible to farm humans?
You already said it.
Oh, you said yes.
Yeah, only if we're talking like in a vacuum.
Bite the bullet, baby. Bite the bullet.
Like there's nothing wrong per se, in my view, with like farming humans.
So wait,
I just think it's
vacuum,
wrong
like,
because
I can like breed women like with a metal rod to like shove semen up their vaginas and then like make them pregnant and then take their babies away and then like eat them. that's fine on your view? Human women?
Like the action wouldn't be wrong per se. Like if it were an alien doing it to feed on the human children, I
I'm
don't think
talking
it's
about
doing
me
anything morally
doing it.
wrong. I think it would only be wrong because, and this is where I admit I have to do more research, but I just, something, not just my personal intuition, but just, I guess it is in, a lot of it is personal intuition, but something about it
Mhm.
just doesn't feel right. But it's not because it doesn't, the reason why it feels wrong isn't because of the action per se. It just doesn't feel right for me as a human to do that to a person. But it's not
So if it
because
were
the action in itself.
yeah, just like hypothetically, if in your city you buy meat at the grocery store and it was revealed to you like tomorrow, like, oh my God, this wasn't chicken the whole time, it was human meat, and there's like a factory in the city that's breeding humans and slaughtering them, and they're all just like me, you would have no problem with that?
Well, I think I would have a problem with it, but again, it's not because of um, it's not
So is
because
it
of the
wrong or
action
not?
per se.
Is it wrong or not?
The action is morally neutral in my view. I just think it's I just don't
So
feel right as a
farming
human.
farming humans, women, taking their babies and cutting their heads off and turning them into cheeseburgers is morally neutral.
In a vacuum, yeah, it's morally neutral,
In
I
a
would say.
vacuum. I can like so like if I just like get a metal rod and like smack a woman in the face with it
No,
as hard as I
you,
can, it's
you got
morally
you got
neutral.
your answer. You
Okay.
got your answer.
It's crazy, bro.
If I would also like to propose a hypothetical, maybe not a hypothetical, maybe this will happen since you're now gonna go away, Kryptickid, and do more research. First of all, I hope you do research not in order to affirm your bias, but like a clean slate, right? Just like do research into what is nature, what is natural, what our evolution is, and stuff like that. But let's say you do all that and you find out that you were wrong about rape. And rape is actually like extremely, very fundamentally natural to human beings. It's just like fundamentally part of human nature. Do you think it's like because it's natural, we should just continue doing or even bring back, uh, right? Because it's natural. Or if you had like a button to push, would you end like never again?
Um, if I found out that like it was like fundamentally natural to humans, that would probably make me it wouldn't make me completely like reject my moral framework, but it would I would definitely have to like reevaluate things, to put it mildly.
So
Because about
it's not
that,
permissible according to you if you had to if you were deliberating between two things, pushing a button and ending rape, or pushing a button and actually increasing because it's more natural, it's good then, right? So which button would you push?
I would probably hit the decreasing button.
Mm-hmm. So you
Oh, by the way.
abandon your beliefs
Should be very clear.
when it comes to this question. Have you noticed that you just abandoned your belief entirely?
Well, I think the only reason I feel that way is because I feel like it's probably in my nature to not
Mm-hmm.
like
So your
separate.
nature is different from the human nature then?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
No, it's not. Can I just say, if your worldview is like shit and it's leading to this kind of moment where you're like, I'd probably pick the like not button, and I don't like know if like it goes against my nature, but actually my nature's not different from other nature. Like if the worldview is like this, you can just drop it and just adopt a different one. Like I'd highly recommend it because Like, say honestly, if there is a human like just kicking a dog in the street, and we've already acknowledged that violence can be something that you take to be natural in your proprietary definition. Say they're just kicking the shit out of a dog. Would you just like look at that and genuinely you'd just be like, no, I'm not intervening. I don't expect anyone to intervene. I don't think anything wrong's happening.
Well, I think with dogs, I don't really want to go on a tangent, but
Well, please don't go on a tangent. Please just
Answer the
answer
question, yeah.
Gaze's question.
Neutral to
Yeah.
kick a dog.
And you wouldn't even intervene. You wouldn't expect anyone to intervene, and it wouldn't be wrong in your view because violence would be natural there. So would it be the case that it's not wrong, and you wouldn't intervene?
if it were natural for humans to commit violence like that, then I don't think there would be anything wrong with it per se.
Well, you've
no.
already acknowledged that violence can be a part of your proprietary definition of what it is to be natural. So it's not even, oh well, if it would be. Therefore, in your view,
It would be when.
Yeah. So you believe it would not be morally wrong if you saw someone kicking the living shit out of a dog and you wouldn't feel any need to intervene or have someone stop it.
I would be against it because I think the relationship between humans and dogs, like we didn't cultivate dogs to kick them. So I would say
people breed
again. Well, you're kind of missing the point, right? You said violence is part of human nature.
Yeah.
So unless you're not considering kicking a dog violence, so you can give less like a proprietary definition there as well, right?
when I said violence is part of human nature, I think, and again, this is where I'm going to have to do more like empirical research, but my impression was that violence in humans is more like a vestigial trait. So like when I say like it's something is more fundamental, like I think human existence is rooted in cooperation, but it's not.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to stop you right there, right? Because we heard all this before. Can you like think of some things that are happening right now in the world that don't comport with this theory that you created, this hypothesis, where humans are not cooperating, they're actually fighting each other every single day?
The Russia-Ukraine war, probably.
Oh, dude, just go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just sounds that like your hypothesis doesn't comport with reality that you admit. So maybe the hypothesis is just wrong, right?
I mean, yeah, I could always be wrong, but
yeah. So it just seems like you just said that you are wrong. So is this gonna make you change your mind? Maybe like go back to the drawing board and start a new hypothesis.
Oh yeah.
Scratch. Yeah.
I'm definitely going back to the drawing board, but I still feel like I'm onto something as far as like actions in a vacuum are not morally wrong, even the ones we take to be like with bullet biting. Like I don't think the actions per se are morally wrong in themselves.
You're basing it on inner mechanisms of some kind in your mind. You're not basing it on anything. So, oh, I'm onto something based on what? Like it should at least like in some kind of an area of our reality, it should comport to something there, right? But it doesn't even comport to our modern laws, for instance, right? Like where the action is the thing. Hold on, the action is the thing in a vacuum, and not in a vacuum is the thing that's going to land you in jail.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think
even that part doesn't comport to reality, right?
I think I need to think of a different concept of like nature, come up with some different term or word, because
Or
I
you can
guess I'm
stop
not
making
using.
an appeal to nature fallacy. That's it. There is also an option to admit that the fallacy exists for a reason, and you are definitely making it. And maybe like stop doing fallacious reasoning, right? Stop engaging
I don't know.
in it.
We might have. There might just be
So
an impasse here.
earlier, Chase, I think, he put in the chat what an appeal to nature is, right? Let me just kick it up for you. Let me find it. I think you didn't even kind of know that part. So I kicked it up for you. You can find the definition of appeal to nature fallacy and tell me if what you're doing is an appeal to nature fallacy or isn't. Hmm? There, I pasted it again as well, just so it's comfortable.
So, like, if you watched a sci-fi movie and, like, in the movie, there were humans being farmed, like at a factory farm and being, like, gassed to death, you would just be like, "Eh, this is interesting. I'm not averse to this." Or would you think they're, like, the bad guys doing that?
Wait, Joe, I would like to an answer to my question first.
Oh, yeah, go back to the appeal to nature. Did you read it, Cryptid?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Okay, so let me know if you think what you come up with here is an appeal to nature or isn't, and then we can talk about the validity of informal fallacy. We can talk about that if you want. But I first want to know if you understand that you're doing the same thing.
Can I admit something right now?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had put thought into like what I believed in, and I think I have to a certain extent. But I'm realizing right now, as I'm talking about this, that I'm not really any better than the other people who have been coming on here and talking with you guys.
Well, I really, really appreciate you saying that.
That's based of you
I
to
think
admit.
that
Yeah.
fantastic realization. We appreciate such things. Truly, when somebody is like honest in a conversation, we truly appreciate it.
Yeah,
You
like
guys
it's
do way more vegan outreach than me. What would you say Cryptid is in, like, the 1% of people who are intellectually honest who say stuff like
something like that, yeah. Yeah, they're ready. I
Yeah.
think it's good. Like, obviously, I've got slightly annoyed in this conversation because the entailments of this view are honestly horrific. And I think with a bit more time, yeah, you may see the lengths. But I do appreciate that you're willing to potentially abandon a worldview on the basis that you acknowledge you haven't thought it through and its entailments and, you know, that nature.
Yeah,
So,
and like,
yeah, go on.
you say what you wanted to say first.
Oh no, I just wanted to ask if you have like questions to us vegans. But first, please make a statement.
I didn't mention this at the start, but I am going plant-based. Honestly, I'm kind of just, I'm not rambling, but like, you know, I've watched a lot of these debates and I really hate how a lot of them go into like this debate bro or blood sports type of thing. So part of the reason why I wanted to be here today, whether or not like I'm right or wrong or whatever, is just to, I don't know. I do care about morality and I do want to figure out what's true about like what's right and wrong. And
Just
I don't know.
just
Now I'm starting
for
to,
the sake of clarity, when you say morality, like on the worldview that you abandoned already, I think, what would be moral or immoral? Just whatever comports with natural or unnatural, or
Well, when I got here, I think I should have brought. I said there are two parts. I think I should have just brought up the second part to begin with.
what is it?
I guess gratitude is. I guess gratitude is also part of what I feel, because part of the reason why I want to go plant based. Well, I want to go plant based in the first place, like not vegan, but like reducitarian or flexitarian, because something along those lines. But like I just feel like it's more natural, which I know that's part of the first thing we've hashed out. But that is still my reasoning to an extent. But also, I just don't like
Wait,
the way that people like treat. I'm
I
sorry.
don't think I got an answer to my question. What you're doing is an appeal to nature, correct? Fallacy, an appeal to nature
Yes.
fallacy. Yeah. So
Yes.
you continue with your fallacious argument. Why? Here's the thing, right? I don't have a
That's
problem with you going plant-based or something like that, right? Like, especially if you go full
right.
plant-based, I don't have a problem with that. But you are doing it, first of all, for absolutely terrible reasons, like fallacious reasons, right? And second of all of a sudden, plant-based became reducitarian. So I'm just like, I'm confused, and I think I'm confused with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't even know how under your
Yeah.
proprietary definition of natural, that would be a more natural diet. Like, surely it'd just be anything we eat. I do not know how, like, you would be able to go, oh, this animal-based diet isn't natural, while the plant-based is. Like, wouldn't it all the food be natural, as long as it's, like, edible in this view? So not only is it fallacious, but I don't even know how you've got there using that viewpoint. But yeah, it's important, as PM's saying, you need to update your, you're recognizing this is a fallacy. Now you have to find some other reason, right? And update the information.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how to put this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, like, appealing to nature is generally regarded as a fallacy.
No, an appeal to nature is regarded as a fallacy. An appeal to nature fallacy is a fallacy, right? Saying something is good because it's natural.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You understand that, but you want to continue using it for some reason?
I need to do more. I want to try to figure out how to challenge this idea, because I don't think everything that's natural is good, but I think there are some natural goods. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, but
that's where you're coming into lack of fallacy, right? Some natural things are good, some natural things are bad.
Yeah, but they're
therefore,
not on
nature is not a good.
Yeah,
go on.
That was I was going to complete that just by saying that's why we recognize it's not right or wrong on the basis of it being natural, because you are then understanding something which you've done in this like debate or discussion, whatever you'd like to call it. You have acknowledged something is good or bad or somehow both. That's why the fallacy is the fallacy, because it leads to this breakdown of logic. Because then you have contradictions.
It turns into like special pleading, because then you could just have a set of things that are natural, and then now you're just picking and choosing things that are natural that you like and things that are unnatural that you like. And then same thing, you can pick and choose things that are unnatural that you like and unnatural that you don't like. So it's not nature.
Yeah.
That's not the thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, for instance, just going back to the clean drinking water example, like it's natural. It's happened throughout human history until like the last 100 years or whatever, that we drank like dirty water that had giardia in it and parasites and all this
Right.
stuff that makes you
Yeah.
get diarrhea and sick and die. And that's just like that single thing that we have now, like an engineering solution to not have that happen to us anymore, is unnatural, and it's way better. I would always go for the filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some connection. I still think I still think there might be some connection, but like it's not the nature itself. Most likely, I don't think it's. There's more. I think there's more to it than that. So again, I really apologize. I feel embarrassed that I've come in here and
Yeah, let
I
me
didn't
just
mean to, but I think I.
no, that's okay. Having intellectual humility is an amazing trait, and I think that having that, I think vegan, gays, postmortem, and I all were non-vegan at one point, and we all coped.
I coped
And
hard
we
as a
had
kid.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
we had the
We did.
humility to admit we were wrong and change our behaviors.
Yeah, and I think it's like, I think some people who we debate should absolutely be embarrassed when they dishonestly engage, they dodge, they just do not update their framework when they realize that there's a contradiction. That's embarrassing, 100%. But like, if you can just, even if you've done those things, come to the end of it and be like, oh shit. Like, I think then you don't. Yeah, there should be some embarrassment for saying those things, which I have from saying those things, you know, oh, it's natural though. I did say that as a child and I'm embarrassed by that, even though I, didn't know any better. But, it could be worse. It could be worse.
Bro, I said it as an adult.
Yeah, so.
That's the worst part, right? It's worse than yours.
I actually kind of believe like every single food thing we eat, like food or liquid, there is an unnatural version that is superior than the natural version. Like you could just
100%.
arbitrarily like take blueberries and add like vitamin B12 powder to them, and it's healthier for you than like natural blueberries. You could just arbitrarily do this to like any food. Like natural shit sucks.
Yeah,
we clean our food unnaturally. We clean our water. We can fortify foods. Like all that shit is amazing, and it provides better health outcomes.
Yeah, the dunking on novel foods will not happen here.
Chemical vegan.
Chemicals, though.
Yeah, we love them. Literally can't live without them.
But yeah, do you have any like questions about like how we've come to be vegan, or is there any other kind of thing other than this definition of natural that's stopping you from just considering other sentient beings?
Again, I'm not going to beat myself up too much, but I feel bad that I wasn't trying to hype myself up, but I said like I thought people were coming in here and giving bad arguments, and I thought I had some understanding of things that was better than theirs, but I guess I just didn't. So I just need to reevaluate my ethics, basically. Maybe we can do something like this again some other time, but for
Sure.
now, I think I've realized I really need to go back to the drawing board, and
And
I'm not
remember
doing.
what I said, right? You remember what I said? Doing research to confirm your beliefs would be the wrong thing to do. Disregard your beliefs and start research from scratch. That's how you get to the truth.
Yeah, Kryptid, are you aware
Yeah.
of like the term? It's called sorry, I'm blanking right now. Hold on,
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, well, yeah, confirmation bias is a thing where you're like looking for evidence to support your view. But oh, sorry, I remember the term now. I just blanked. It's called credence. Like for a belief, you can like give a percentage to how confident you are in that belief, and it's called a credence in that belief. Are you aware of that?
I think I've heard the term, but so I'm sorry. Just run by
Yeah.
that.
So you could like think of anything like So I could like just like come up with any random claim. Like, do you think
Fluoride in water is bad.
yeah, like you would say like what is your credence that fluoride in water is bad? And you could say something like 5%. Like I'm 95% sure that fluoride in water is fine. I'm 5% sure. Like you're not 100% sure on anything. Or it's really rare that you're 100% sure on anything. So that's just called a credence, and it kind of helps to like change your thought process to that sort of thing versus like 100% or 0 on certain topics.
Like, do you want to know the credence for like my current beliefs that I hold now? Is that what you're asking, or
No,
am I
I guess I could
misunderstanding?
ask you like, what's your credence that it's ethically wrong to stab animals for unnecessary stuff?
Uh, I'm not sure, to be honest. I could go 50-50 either way. Sorry if it's disappointing. But
I'm more in
that's just how I feel.
I'm more like interested in the credence of sentience, not adding any moral calculation to a hypothetical. Like for me, I just take it to be the case like if I kick the shit out of a dog or I kick the shit out of a human versus kicking a shit out of a table, it's going to be bad for the dog and the human, but not the table, because they can actually experience the negative senses that come with it. They can feel the pain, they can feel upset, you know, a table can't. So I don't know how you would then evaluate the morality of kicking a human versus kicking an inanimate object, like say like a tree, because humans like violence is natural and a tree is natural under your view, I would take it to be. But you know,
Yeah. Um,
that's why considering sentience is based, because then I can be like, look, you know, as long as no one sees it, it's not belonging to anyone, you know, because it can have extrinsic value. You know, you kick the crap out of the table, go to a raid room, beat the crap out of it. But like, don't do that to the human.
I think the reason. Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think the reason why this whole thing's such a huge like stumbling block for me is it's not. I don't mind changing my lifestyle per se. It's the problem I have is I hear a lot of people, like even non-vegans, will talk about um, like when a lion kills a gazelle, it's doing some like necessary evil, and I just don't feel like it's evil at all per se that they're killing and eating a sentient creature. So that's why I'm inclined to say that like sentience itself isn't morally significant, or at least not. It's not sufficient.
Is that what happened? You like watched some sort of nature documentary, you saw people kind of giving commentary on that, and then you've kind of developed it from that kind of view?
Not just like nature documentaries, but I think I get what you mean. But yeah, just watching footage of animals and observing their behaviors. It's just I have more of a problem judging their behaviors more than my own behavior, if that makes sense.
Well, you have more of a problem judging theirs than your own, you're saying, sorry.
Like if sentience is morally, like if it's morally wrong to stab an animal or kill an animal, then I feel like I would be committed to saying that the lion is doing something wrong, even if it's a necessary evil. It's still doing something wrong when it's killing the gazelle, because the gazelle's a sentient being as well.
Yeah, but that's
And,
why,
or
yeah. I would just say that obviously that's why then
that's
people.
why.
Oh, sorry, I think there's a cut out. Do you want to finish your sentence? Sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay. You can finish what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, obviously, this is why people talk about moral agents versus moral patients and whatnot, because obviously there are human beings. Like, this is a difficulty in law, like when children commit violence against other people. Like, how do you condemn them the same way you would condemn an adult with agency? That's why people start talking about that. But the argument for some is, oh well, they're not moral agents, so they can't distinguish the right from the wrong. So the action can still be bad. It's just people then question: is the perpetrator? Can we hold them at the same level of responsibility? Or some people will be like, oh, can this be called a bad act? Like, can it be? Can a child be judged the same way as an adult? And lots of people say no in an instance, even if they've done a bad thing equal to what an adult would. So it sounds like you're having an issue with that sort of scenario.
Like I've heard of I've considered that. Like I've heard of the terms like moral agent, moral patient, and that's why we judge like children differently or animals in this case differently. But I would think like even if the lion had the same level of intelligence as a human, like I don't see why that would make it wrong. Or even if like a lion with the same level of intelligence, like if there was some species of cat that had the same level of intelligence as a human, well, now I think about it, I'm kind of repeating the vampire argument from earlier, but just the something with the same level of intelligence as a human hunting a human, like I just don't think that would make it morally wrong.
Yeah, well, like
So
say with sorry, I was going to say with Dracula, I think people would deem him a moral agent. He's very intelligent, I think he's supposed to be. So it wouldn't be that he wouldn't be like equivalent to then a child behaving in that manner, like drinking
Yeah,
the
to
blood.
make it analogous to like the vegan thing, imagine Dracula had um, like a plant-based blood source that he could choose, or he could choose to go like hunt humans and bite their necks and kill them. And he's a moral agent.
Mm-hmm.
Would you find it more ethically acceptable for him to have the plant-based blood to keep him healthy, or is it just like in his nature to hunt and kill humans, so it's fine?
Yeah,
That's kind of like the
I'm
vegan
sorry
thing right now. Like we have this option, we can just be vegan and not farm animals and kill them for unnecessary stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I'm sorry. I don't think Dracula in this case has a moral obligation to drink from the plants than the humans.
All right, so he has like it's available. It's even cheaper. Like the plant-based blood is cheaper. It's available. It's in his grocery store. Dracula is still like ethically fine. You're ethically fine with Dracula hunting humans for his blood.
Yeah, I don't think Dracula would be doing anything morally wrong by hunting humans.
why aren't you considering the victim in your
Yeah.
considerations of morality? Why does that happen?
If you were the victim of Dracula, would you think it's wrong?
I wouldn't think it was wrong. I mean, I would hate it. I would hate to be eaten, but just because I would hate to be eaten doesn't mean it's wrong per se. I think that there's some kind of fallacy there in a way that just because like I'm undergoing suffering from some other being, then that means there's some kind of injustice taking place.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
you're
so the question again is why are you considering the perpetrator but not the victim in an action that includes both? Right, there
let's
are
just
repercussions for both, right? One does the action, the other one like bears the repercussions of it. So why aren't you considering that person or that being that bears the repercussions of an action? Why are they completely irrelevant in your moral system?
I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not really sure how I would describe that other than like I'm sorry. I just want to
Mhm.
put some actual thought into this.
Yeah,
Sure.
just to have another quick, hypothetical question. Imagine you're just in a white blank room with Dracula, and then there's like a plant-based version of you with like blood that will make him healthy. You and the plant-based version of you, and he's just like, I really like the natural version of humans. I'm gonna kill you. And you're like, but there's like a version there that's non-sentient. Can you eat that? And said no. You would find nothing wrong with that.
I don't think Dracula would be doing anything morally wrong in that scenario. No,
Can I just?
I don't feel
I choose.
satisfied like I got an answer. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
Really?
Yeah. I'm asking, why don't you consider both parties of an action and just the one that it makes the action? Why don't you consider both parties?
Let's test if you actually do
Well-
consider both parties, right? So you've got the two possible worlds. It's not you, it's some other human. Dracula can pick the plant-based replica that's non-sentient of that human, or that he can pick the human. Which one, if you can control Dracula, would you pick?
If I could control Dracula,
Yeah,
I mean,
you could pick what he goes for, either the human being or the plant-based replica that's non-sentient.
Yeah, if you can force them the way vegans force other people to stop eating meat, you know. It's a joke.
right. I know, but
Bite the bullet.
I think it would be 50-50. I just don't think Dracula has an obligation.
Are you actually joking?
Sorry?
This is bad. So if you could control a vampire and you could stop him from literally killing a human, you would be 50-50 on that.
You would just flip a coin.
You flip a coin.
You wouldn't. I would choose Dracula to eat the plants. I wouldn't.
So,
If I were Dracula,
So this is the thing. This
like if
goes
I were
back
Dracula, I
to
don't.
VPM's question then. So I was just trying to test if you would actually consider the victim. So you actually don't, because it's a flip of the coin. There's no consideration there. Nothing has like changed the probability in your brain. So I guess then now it needs to go back to VPM's question, because now we know the answer. Why do you not consider the victim then, in that instance, the human?
When I speak for like, I'm just speaking for myself, Kryptickid. Like when I make moral decisions, like
That's what we're looking for. Just the answer to the why don't you consider the victims? Yeah.
I guess it just doesn't really make sense to. I'm trying to consider, like, when I think about like, I don't know, what in life is, what my meaning in life is. Like, if my meaning in life, like, if I were Dracula, or something like, and it's part of my purpose to feed on humans, then I would feed on humans.
But what about the human?
Like, I just don't. I'm more.
What about the human with the living? What about their living, their existence? Like, you're not considering it. It's only the perpetrator you consider. Why is that?
To be honest, I'm not really sure how to. I don't know. I don't really know exactly where it comes from or why. I reason in that way. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Like I care about my for example, I care about my family, but it's not because like I might have obligations to my family, not because like they have some inherent rights. It's about what obligations I might have to them. So it's not really about rights that.
Okay. So if you, when you do your research and you find out that is indeed natural, would you like put your wife and your child up, it would be totally moral to rape your wife and child, and you for that matter.
It feel you mean like I would be put up for rape or something along those lines?
Sure, sure. You, your wife, and your child, all of them put up for rape because it's natural. There's a site where you can put people up for rape. Let me know if you found out that is actually natural to human beings, and I'm gonna put your name there, hypothetically, obviously. Is it moral what I'm doing? And what consequently is gonna happen to you?
Bite the bullet.
In a vacuum, no, there's nothing wrong with it per se. But like, there's if humans were
That's
like
insane.
dolphins, let's say, like I don't think dolphins are doing anything wrong. Like I think the bottlenose dolphin,
Do you think you're gonna
they
be
rape
like?
each other a
I
lot.
just don't want to hear about dolphins anymore because I know about dolphins, right? So I don't need like a nature history. Like vegan gays knows shitload about like what animals do and don't do. We just don't want to know about that. I just want to know: are you going to be harmed
I'm sorry.
by this action? Are you going to be harmed by this action?
I
In
would
a
be
vacuum.
harmed by it, of course, but I don't think. Yeah, I would be harmed
So
by
the
it.
harm. Why aren't you considering the harm that happens to the receiver of the action?
For some reason, I just don't really see that in itself as having any moral significance.
Interesting. So, what if you find out that it's actually unnatural for human beings to help each other, but somebody comes and rapes you anyways, hypothetically, obviously? The harm is the same, but is it that going to change your position on whether it's moral or not?
It wouldn't change my position on the action itself, no.
Okay.
Because I don't think, like, just because I undergo something that is harmful or puts me in agony doesn't mean the action itself is wrong. I don't think actions in themselves, I've already said this before, I'm sorry, but I just don't think actions
Yeah.
in themselves are morally wrong,
Okay.
even harmful
Well, that would
ones.
just like justify like fucking anything, right? So, like, for instance, I'm sorry, I keep harping on this, right? But like, I'm a third generation Jew, and my grandparents were killed in the Holocaust. So that action in itself is not immoral in a vacuum. It's just like the Nazis that were immoral, but the action of gassing Jews, that was fine. Like, if it was natural for the German people to gas Jews, then it wouldn't be immoral.
I mean, yeah, hypothetically, I suppose it's the only thing I would question is
I
if
mean, the thing
was it
happened. It's
actually.
not really hypothetical, is it? Right? You also said the action
Well,
itself is not moral or immoral. Jews were gassed.
right.
That's a historical fact, unless you deny that historical fact. So
Oh
that
no,
action of
no.
gassing Jews is not moral or immoral. It's just Nazis might have been immoral because they didn't follow human nature. Right?
Right,
Am I getting it right?
right.
Okay. Thank you. I'm done. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think we've had quite a few bullet bites, and if someone doesn't consider, like, how, like, if you'd be like finding it morally permissible to like give up your own child and your wife to, and that being nothing wrong with that, hypothetically, I just like there's been a lot of bullet bites. I would go see a dentist, and then I would come back when you have your teeth back, and we can maybe reconvene. But if you still have this kind of position where you're not compelled to say, look, grape would be wrong, you know, kicking animals, beating the shit out of them would be wrong. If you can't like see those things, then of course, you know, I don't know how you're going to like then consider the rights of other sentient beings, because you don't even value the experience of the individual. So yeah, I think we've got what we need to out of your view, and I'm glad that you recognize it's not unique, and And I think you acknowledged that it was indeed fallacious and why that might be an issue. Yeah, I think I am done as well.
Yeah, just one more thing. Like, I put you in a cell with like a 6'5" guy with a 9-inch long schlong and just let him go to town on you. Nothing wrong there.
It would only be wrong if it's unnatural for humans, but in a vacuum, no.
There you go.
So
Joe,
it's
I think you
okay.
got all the
we got
bullet
it.
bites. Come on, man. Let him go.
Yeah, I
Let
think,
him go.
yeah. Well, thank you for having the conversation. I don't know if I'm gonna have very much faith in humanity for about a week. I'll be back at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have broken me emotionally, so thank you.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, well,
I guess I'm not really that sorry because I believe in what I believe in, but
and also you can't be
But,
sorry
uh,
for causing me emotional harm because you don't care about my experience as a sentient being. So any harm that you may cause, you can't actually feel sorry for.
Yeah.
sure.
And all of this, just to reiterate, all of this is based on a informal fallacy. So just to read, just for everybody to be clear, your worldview is based on a fallacy.
Okay.
Okay. Appreciate you for coming. I'm gonna move you to the audience now, unless you want to have like final words or something.
If you're non-vegan in the chat, you can come in, by the way.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I think this started for me, to be honest. And I think it is still kind of rough, but only because we're at like a very strong moral impasse, to put it mildly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't believe that actions in themselves are morally wrong per se.
Okay.
It's just I just don't believe it's rooted in reality. So that's all I really can put it down as.
Well, all legal systems are not with you there, because all legal systems, first and foremost, were created to defend the victims of certain actions. So your view is not only fallacious, it also doesn't comport with the reality of human being nature. If our legal system is natural, then this just like defeats your argument 100%, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, it would if it's natural. I guess it just maybe if I'm right, it's the legal system as we know it is not natural.
So if a legal system is not natural, then we should abolish it because it's unnatural to us, right?
I would disobey it. Yeah, I would disobey it.
Awesome. See you next time. Okay.